I've got the D50. Now the D50 is in a position where sometimes I've got the wave station here, sometimes I might even put the Mirage here. So this is sort of like a swap in, swap out area. So I've also got it hooked up that this is one of the master keyboards going back into the MPC, so I can control the rest of the rig from there, or I can control it at the DAW station. I have a challenge with the D50. As you can imagine, I've got those Jean-Michel Jarre patches in here from Revolutions, one of my favourite albums. Jean-Michel picked some amazing sounds from this synth back in the day. So largely I've got the Jean-Michel sounds in here. I've also got the original D50 sounds in here. I don't use the sounds that much, but I do use them occasionally, and I try and use them in slightly unique ways that don't just sound like a Jean-Michel album. So really awesome synth. Doesn't get as much love in the studio as it should. It's just one of those synths that I just have to have. I've for the last 25 years, I've had a D50 in the studio somewhere. Here we've got the Fairlight 1X that I built last year. So surprisingly, I used this more than I used the big Fairlight, even though I've only got one voice that I can play. It's just got such a character. It's got an amazing character to it. It just is so quick and easy to use. You just put the sample in. You can, do some basic manipulations on page 7. And away you go. That's it. The sound's done. It's really easy with the HXC to just keep saving stuff, so you can just keep creating samples, saving it. The other thing with the HXC, which is a floppy drive emulator, I should have said that. The other thing with the HXC is everything goes onto an SD card in individual files. So each floppy disk is a separate file on the HXC, and you can just back that up on the computer. So really, really awesome. It's so super fast to work with, and I really need to come back and do a sampling demo with this. Let me know if I should be focusing on that instead of the next project. I cannot convey how amazing the Fairlights still are, at least to me. I still find them incredibly inspiring. I love using them. The 1X doesn't take much to learn to use it. There's a few advanced functions, well, there's quite a few advanced functions in here, but you can get up and running really, really fast. It's just amazing. I am super lucky to have both varieties of Fairlight in here. So, hiding down here at the bottom is the Blofeld. I still use the Blofeld occasionally. Since I got the Quantum, I don't use it as much as I used to, unfortunately. But the Blofeld is just one of those amazingly awesome synths. So ubiquitous, so easy to find. Get one. Seriously, it's a little menu divey, but it's really fast to work through the menus. I've noticed quite a few other companies now are starting to copy this matrix system. For the price point, for the quality of the sound this creates, if you can get one, get one. They're just amazing. So I really don't feel I can get real PPG type sounds from the Quantum. The Blofeld delivers that in spades. So it's very much like the Microwaves, a little different sounding, but not like crazy. It doesn't sound anything like it. Really awesome synth. This is the main station I use to mix, do editing. I still edit on the trash can Mac. What have we got here? So I keep meaning to mount the monitor for the One X actually on an arm. I'll probably end up putting it somewhere over here just to sort of free up this space again. I've got a Warm Audio 1176 clone. I've got that hooked into the patch bay over there, and I don't use it all the time, but sometimes it's nice to come out of the box, process something, just that analog difference, and then bring it back into the box. So I've got the 1176, I've got the Simmons SDS 1000 hiding here. I don't really use that much, and I've pretty much sampled it, and if I really want that sound, I'll use the samples these days. It's a nice unit, but yeah, I don't use it that much. Orbit, this is the second Orbit that I've had, the Emu Orbit. A lot of people always comment that it doesn't have Z-plane filters. Now, it definitely says in the manual that these filters are Z-plane. Let me know why people say that this is not a Z-plane filter. I understand the Morpheus, the Emu Morpheus was quite different, but yeah, it definitely purports to have Z-plane filters, so I would love to hear why people say it doesn't. Drum station, I don't use the drum station that much anymore. And my drum station's gone a bit crazy over the years. It works, I've still got it hooked into the MPC like most other things, but yeah, it's still a good source for 808, 909 sounds, but as I said really early on, I've got the Behringer RD8, which is good enough for those 808 sounds, at least for me. And I'll probably pick up the RD9, which is the Behringer 909. Right at the top, above the studio monitors, I've got the OP1 and the OPZ. Normally when I use the OP1, I use it more as a tape recorder, and I play things live into the tape. I can manipulate those sounds, slow it down, speed it up. It still is quite amazing what this thing can do, and it's amazing to think this synth has been out for so many years. If you haven't ever tried one, I'd suggest trying one. OPZ, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm still not sure about that. I like it. I like the way you end up learning pretty intuitively how to use it. You don't really need the display, but it just has not gelled with me. Originally I bought it because I was intending to do a lot of traveling with this, and then a situation in the world happened, and yeah, we don't tend to travel much anymore. Hopefully that's going to change soon. So, down here I've got the Super 6. You probably can't see it that well. I'll move the chair out the way. And I probably should turn it on. Ah! So down here I've got the Super 6. This is where I've had the Nord, and I used to swap out the instruments here quite often. So normally I would put the newest synth I've got there, but I really got into using the Nord for a long time as a controller, just because it had such a huge control surface on it and really easy to map to other things. As I've said many times, the Nord 2X is really an amazing ambient synth. But anyway, that's not talking about the Super 6. Super 6 is still new to the studio. I'm still learning to use it. I'm still learning to get the best from it. That it's got that legacy Roland vibe, and if you've ever owned like a Juno 106 or a Jupiter, while things are not exactly the same, it just feels so familiar when you're using it. It's just like you already intuitively know what to do. We've got alternate digital waves and a bunch of other stuff, wave doubling. Really great. Loving this synth. Really is a great pad machine. Let's move along. Obviously I use Logic and I use DaVinci Resolve to actually edit these videos. Last two things here. So we've got the Obmx. I've had that for about 5 years now. Once again, not a synth I use every day. It has a very unique character. I quite often use it for drones. I use it for picking out unique harmonic sounds. Very unique. Like the Nord, it has its own unique character. It really doesn't do the things you would expect it to do, and it works slightly differently to you would expect. There's a bit of a learning journey when you first get one of the Obmx's. So I've got 4 voices in mine. I wish I had more, but I can never find the voices. As I'm sure I've said before, you can't just go out and buy voice cards and put them in. There's differences between them. You have to do a special digital calibration process. And so I use it occasionally. It's really unique, and that's why it's still here in the studio. On top of the speaker here, I've got the Polyend Tracker. Once again, don't use it every day, but I find I create sounds and music on here that I don't create on anything else. Like, it really transforms the type of music that I create, and that's really the power in it for me. That's why I keep coming back to it and why it's still there, and normally covered with the original shipping cloth to stop dust and stuff getting into it.